Hello guys, Chris here and welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm going to be testing the GeForce RTX 4070 Ti in Hogwarts Legacy. This one is the Gigabyte gaming OC model of the card. We are running it with the latest Nvidia drivers as usual, and I'm not manually overclocking it. You can see all of its specs right here. In Tech Power-Ups, GPU-Z, resizable bar is enabled, and over on the left, we're pairing it with a Ryzen 7 5800X 3D and 32GB of RAM, 3600MHz dual-channel CL14. And I just compared this a little bit to my 13600K, overclocked to 5.6 GHz, and they perform around the same. So no CPU bottlenecks for the most part. Let's get into it, shall we? So as you can see, it's already at around 60 frames per second. GPU usage is fluctuating a little bit, yes, but it is not a CPU bottleneck. To demonstrate it, I will just set it to like ultra performance DLSS, which runs the game at a super low resolution. And you can see the CPU limitation right here. Now we are fully CPU bound, and the CPU is good for 100 to 130 frames per second in this area, which is the most CPU intensive area that I've come across. With that out of the way, let's turn this off and enable some Nvidia DLAA, which is by far the best anti-aliasing mode in this game. And we're starting this at 4K using the Ultra settings, which are recommended by the game for the 4070 Ti. And as you saw already, it gets around 60 frames per second around here, which is not bad, you know, but yeah, I was expecting a little bit better coming from a 4070 Ti. Well, considering that the 4080 actually dropped from 60 FPS in this game as well at 4K, this is to be expected a little bit. And look at that stuttering, guys. Oh my goodness, that graph is crazy. Oh boy, this is the main issue in this game, you know. It stutters a heck of a lot, and it's kind of terrible in that regard. Also, because of the stuttering, GPU utilization goes down a little bit at times. That's completely normal because, well, when a stutter happens, the GPU just doesn't have anything to do for a split second, right? Anyway, can we see Jack? Where is he, by the way? Oof. Yeah, this is not very enjoyable, guys. It stutters way too much, and yeah, I don't like it. Still, let's test it out here in the... Can you load, please? That looks terrible. It's slowly loading in. Okay, everything is fine. Yeah, I've not noticed this too often, but now in the last few videos, I have been noticing that the textures take a while to load sometimes. But yeah, over here you can see 99% GPU utilization. We got no more major stuttering issues, although that frame time is still far from perfect. But yeah, it's way more stable, and the GPU usage shows that as well. It also is a little bit more intensive than Hogwarts in the forest, especially whenever you are surrounded by huge bushes and stuff like that. Lots of vegetation, you know. So that's exactly what I'm trying to replicate here. And we've seen on the 1060 video that some waterfalls, like the tiny little ones, are also really, really intensive. Like this water here is not intensive whatsoever, but when we get to running water, you know, in a waterfall, for example, it usually is very intensive. So let's try to find one of those out. Those stutters, man. That's just the game itself. Again, guys, like there's nothing we can do about that. It also stuttered in my other system with 13600K and 4080. It also stutters on my 5700G system with lower end GPUs as well. Oh boy, Conto Grasdug boy, I don't want to do anything to you, buddy. Please do not fight me. Do not fight me, and everything will be fine. Oh, come on. Hurry. No, it's not hurry. I forget every single time. I'm actually a little bit impressed that it's managing mostly 50-something FPS in these scenarios right here. Can you cast a spell at me, buddy, please? Please do something. There we go. Yeah, I wanted to see this effect here, which usually drops the FPS. Yeah, okay. It is what it is. It is playable. Nvidia doesn't really aim this GPU at 4K gaming. They actually aim it at 1440p gaming, although it does a really good job at 4K still in a lot of titles. But this one is just a bit too intensive for that 60 FPS experience. Maybe on high that would do it, but I wouldn't really drop it to high because we have DLSS support in this game. So you should definitely utilize it while playing at 4K. So I'm gonna set that to quality first, which looks really good. I'm gonna bump up the sharpness just slightly here, so it is just a little bit sharper. The game is actually quite soft at native resolution, and this looks basically the same as what we were seeing previously, but now with way higher FPS. As you can see, 80s, 90s. Yeah, that feels a lot better indeed. It should also stutter a little bit less now that we are out of the like 40s and 50s, you know. Yeah, look at this. Way smoother of an experience, even here around the forest area. What the hell just happened? Oh, we just entered the dark forest, I think, or whatever it's called. Should we be here though? Yeah, people are level 20 around. Yeah, I don't like that too much, but maybe we should cross this part of the forest here, you know. Let's try to get to the swamp area, which is also really intensive, and it has some ogres on it. Orcs? No, those are trolls. That's it. That's the word. All right, dropping into the 70s at times, like lower 70s near these grassy areas, which again are super demanding in this game. I can see that it's just a little bit softer in grassy areas than it was previously without the DLSS. So you can tell the difference if you are pixel peeping, and especially if you are moving around these areas. Wow. But it's holding up there, you know. It's actually getting 60 plus at all times. Stutters aren't really going anywhere. VRAM is also enough here at ultra settings without ray tracing. So yeah, the 12 gigs have no problem playing this game at 4K. We got a little bit of water here. Great stuff. A lot of fireflies. That looks really good, actually. Yeah, this is nice, guys. It is a great 4K experience as long as you use some DLSS. Now, you also have DLSS Frame Generation, aka DLSS 3. A lot of people like to call it DLSS 3. But this might actually be a game changer, because remember all of those little tiny micro stutters that we were seeing previously? When you enable frame generation, they are basically gone. You can see that the frame time graph is not like a smooth little line anymore. It's a little bit thicker there, but that actually makes it a bit smoother somehow. And the 1% lows will show that. Like, it is way better right now. It's not gonna take care of all of the stuttering issues, by the way. That will still happen. As you could see there were a couple of bigger spikes on the frame time graph. But it will solve like 90% of the stuttering issues, which is quite nice. I've also seen the same thing happening in Microsoft Flight Simulator. When you enable frame generation in that game, it becomes way smoother in terms of stuttering issues. Again, those little spikes there, or bigger spikes actually, will still show up, and they will still kind of remind you that this game isn't really that well optimized, unfortunately. Let's take a look at this water right here. Yeah, not bad. 90s. Also, I am using the Lumos spell because this actually drops our FPS by a little bit. Look at this. 96. I turn this on, 92. So it's slightly, very slightly more intensive in darker areas whenever you use this thing, especially at night as well, because it casts a lot of new shadows, which look really, really impressive in this game, as I showed in my previous videos, and I'll also show it in this one in just a little bit. All right, I haven't been to this place yet, I think. Oh boy, I'm starting to feel those stutters a bit more right now, guys, as we load in a new area, basically. The game is also installed on an NVMe SSD. What? Magic. Yeah, I always forget. We're playing a magical game, you know? So every little bug can be down to magic, basically. Also, we're starting to get around the same FPS, like 90 and 80 FPS, as DLSS without frame generation. And speaking of the quality of FG in this game, it looks really good. Oh, what a beautiful symphony. You can tell that it's a little bit softer with FG, but, you know, on a smaller like 32-inch or 27, 28-inch 4K monitor, I think this will look fantastic. I am using a 42-inch TV, so I can tell all of those little details. I just want to check it out using DLSS quality again, because, yeah, okay, we were seeing like 80 or 90 FPS here, so with DLSS quality, depending on where you are, it still drops into the 60s. As long as it doesn't drop from 60, I'm fine. But yeah, you can see it's not dropping anymore. Maybe it was just loading or something. That's weird AF. Okay. We dropped by about like, what, 10 to 20 frames compared to FG enable. So if you feel like FG is just a little bit too soft for you, DLSS quality, even in the most intensive scenarios, will still give you those 60 plus FPS, which is fantastic. All right, now we're at 2560 by 1440 resolution. Again, the recommended resolution for the 4070 Ti, you could say. Ultra settings, and let's do this. All right, here we go. Start counting the FPS. 100 FPS here using DLAA and the native 1440p resolution. Pretty good stuff, guys. GPU usage is starting to fluctuate a bit, just like we've seen with the 4080 and the 13600K. It gets more CPU bound as you lower the resolution. That's completely normal, obviously. But most of the time, it is still at 98 and 99% usage there. So no problems whatsoever with this pairing. I still think the 5800X3D is capable enough to get the most out of the 4070 Ti, even at 1440p resolution. Now, not gonna lie, I was expecting a bit better performance at 1440p, since this is like a high refresh rate 1440p GPU. But I'm not really complaining, because it's a single-player title. I should complain, though, because they should take a better look at optimization. But honestly, at low settings, you can even play with, like, 9-year-old GPUs like the GTX 970s. So it's just a matter of choosing the right preset and right settings, I guess. It's not really that terribly optimized. It's just really intensive at Ultra, basically, and it looks kind of the same as high on Ultra. Let's continue here. Dropping down into the 70s, that's a little bit worrisome, because with a GPU like this, I was really expecting high refresh rate experience. Maybe 120, 130 FPS on average, not 98. And with drops into the 80s, like in this area, this is the swamp area that I was telling you about previously when we were in the dark forest. Yeah, it drops by quite a bit. It's really, really intensive, this area. It has a lot of water, and I guess as it's nighttime almost, it's starting to cast those shadows more often, and more shadows with the Lumos effect, and yeah, it gets more intensive, basically. Let's just have a little bit of a fight right here. Oh, hello, Jack's cousin. How's it going, buddy? You should not be here, all right? Z. Throw the barrels at the boys. Let's go, let's go. These are only level 10 people. I would think, what the hell is happening? I would think that these were more powerful than the ones in the Dark Forest, since you actually gotta go through the Dark Forest to get here. No? All right. Anyways, let's go. Jack, Wolf, Animagus. It's not Animagus, mate. It's Among Us or Amogus. Whatever you want to call it. Animagus. Oh! Oh, I see where the Magus comes from. Oh, never mind. There we go. Very nice little effect right there. Still not a problem, obviously. I don't expect this game to be a problem. Still not dropping from 60. Obviously, like, I did not expect it to drop from 60. I was just expecting slightly higher results here. Just gonna check it out now with the DLSS set to quality for a bit. Bump up that sharpness by slightly. Bump up that sharpness slightly. Yes. And now we're in the 100. So as you can see, although the GPU usage was fluctuating a little bit, it's still not the CPU bottleneck, because, yeah, the CPU still has a bit more to give in terms of frames. All right, come over here. There we go. A little bit of a fight with some effects again. How am I actually... I'm hitting him. Sometimes my things are reflecting, right? From the... the ball of protection, let's call it that. Yeah, I am leaving it at nighttime again because it is just slightly more intensive than daytime right now. But we should probably test daytime as well, just to compare it a little bit to 4K. Yeah, basically, quality DLSS at 1440p still looks really good. I would say we are actually playing at native 1440p at the moment. Oh, hello there. We just found some huge centaur boys. How's it going? Can I jump on your back, buddy? No? Probably not. That's not a good idea. That was a weird sound. Okay, 109 FPS average for the recommended resolution. I always say, like, recommended resolution of... Oh! Am I dead? I think I died for the first time, yeah. Okay. But yeah, even though this is positioned at 1440p gaming, again, I already told you it does a really good job at 4K. So if you are buying a card like this for 4K, there is no shame in it. All right, I actually played with the 3080 Ti for a year as my main GPU, always at 4K resolution, using DLSS in some games, and I was absolutely having a blast. Now, should we do 1080p, guys? Probably not, but, you know, I'm curious. This is gonna be a complete CPU bottleneck, I think. Yep, I guess there is just no point in playing like this. I mean, GPU usage is still quite high, even at 1080p. It's getting the same FPS as 1440p using DLSS, yeah, around like 109 FPS on average. That's quite nice. This game also has a driver overhead issue. I mentioned this in one of my previous videos, I think the RX 6600 XT video. That GPU can actually get way higher FPS when CPU bound compared to the Nvidia counterparts. That's something interesting to see here, you know, like the 5800X 3D can do better when paired with an AMD equivalent GPU. Still getting 99% usage at times, as you can see, 98%. So it can still be fully GPU bound in forest areas with the 4070 Ti at 1080p. That's interesting to see. I was expecting a full-on CPU bottleneck, but nope, that doesn't happen that often at least. But anyways, at 1080p, it is going to be a high refresh rate experience. Obviously, if you enable DLSS, it's going to be even better. But, you know, maybe you prefer the native res visuals. Look at this, yeah. This is buttery smooth right now, but the stuttering issues will still be there sometimes. I just remembered, my friends, can we get, like, super high FPS at 1080p with frame generation? I'm just curious here. Nobody should play like this. If you're playing at 1080p with a card like this, well, you should sell it and buy another card. No, not really, but you should just disable the frame generation. It's not worth using. Look at that. It can actually reach 200 frames per second with that setting enabled. Crazy technology, dude. And even at 1080p, it doesn't look that much softer than like native res with the TAA on high. I would say it looks almost the same, if not the same as native res with TAA. And I forgot to test it at 1440, so let's try it out. All right, here we go. 1440, DLSS quality. Just gonna increase the sharpness a bit and the frame generation enabled. And I guess to no one's surprise, it is super high refresh rate. Well, not super, because high refresh rate is like 120 hertz, and this is not that much over it. But yeah, it is buttery smooth right now. It still looks really good. Again, same PPI at 27 inches on a 1440p monitor as the 4K was in my monitor. So I can tell you that on a native 1440p monitor, it's going to look really good like this. And you can get a high refresh rate experience like 100% of the time, which is incredible. Like in CPU bound scenarios, the frame generation removes the CPU bottleneck almost completely and you get insane FPS. It's really nice tech, guys. I really like it. I haven't seen anything wrong with this one, honestly. It is really impressive. You know what? Enough nighttime. I don't like nighttime too much. So let's move on to daytime. What? I selected wait until daytime. Isn't that what it says there? Wait to advance time from day to night or night to day. I just advanced time from night to night. So during the day, still 170s, around the same FPS, maybe slightly better, but it looks way better as well. I love the graphics here during the day, especially when the sun is up there and we can see all of that greenery in its all glory. It's very beautiful. But anyway, you can get insanely high FPS here. Let's move on now and test out some ray tracing. Now, using ray tracing in this game is just asking for a worse experience, in my opinion. Like, the reflections don't look that much better, if any better at all in some scenarios, especially in Hogwarts. There are some reflections that look better without ray tracing. Like, they're just over-exaggerated, I think. And Of course, the FPS are just terrible. The stability is also terrible. It's way, way more stuttery than what we saw previously. But you know, this is native 1440p resolution. Using ray tracing at native res is not a good idea in any single game out there with any GPU. Even the 1490 struggles a bit. So let's try it with quality DLSS. Without frame generation first and ray tracing. So this is a little town. Oh, there's Jack once again. Hello, buddy. How's it going? Can I pet you? Why can't I pet you, buddy? Can I make you levitate? No. The cats. The cats have like a. Wait a second. Is that a gray cat? Gray cat. He's not gray. What? This one is gray. And why can't I pet the cats here? He's sleeping, but his eyes are wide open. This is a weird town. Let's get out of here. Apparently, using DLSS at 1440p and all the bells and whistles enabled in the terms of ray tracing and stuff is still very playable. Yeah, it does stutter more. It's a little bit more noticeable whenever there are stuttering issues happening, and those are more severe, I would say. But it is playable, and if you really must have that ray tracing experience, it's good. Let's go kill these bastards. Come on, nice. Oh my goodness, I really want a fire attack, you know, that looks quite decent. Come on, almost dead. That guy is... No, you know what? We should definitely go to Hogwarts, because that's where we're gonna find the most reflections at. Instantly, we just got here, and does that look good to you guys? They gotta fix something here with the ray tracing. This looks absolutely awful. Like, what? Oh my god, and it's dropping from 60 FPS with a CPU bottleneck. That's exactly what we've seen with the 13600K at 5.6 GHz and my 4080 as well. It was getting around the same FPS, like 60s around here. Yep, that's not very good. Although right now it seems to have loaded in this area already and it's in the 70s. Let's see it here though. It's gonna be terrible. Oh boy, okay, yeah, 50s. Oh, that stutter. Nope. This is where GPUs struggle the most, and this is clearly where this game is most broken. Also, that VRAM usage is going up by a lot. It's at 11 gigabytes right now, and I believe if we enable frame generation, it's going to be worse, because frame generation uses a bit more VRAM, and it might start stuttering a bit more instead of getting better stability, as we've seen previously. Yeah, look at that. Look at that frame time. Whoa, it is way more noticeable. Oh my. Oh my, what is happening with the frame time? Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. Whoa. I guess it's just trying to load some of the textures or something into the VRAM, and it's not capable of doing that because there is not enough of it. And this is at 1440p. Look at this. Whoa. Holy crap, dude. Damn, yeah, this is clearly an out of VRAM issue. So you can't really utilize frame generation if you're using ray tracing, even at 1440p or with DLSS 961p. What? Ray tracing implementation in this game is terrible and you shouldn't utilize it. And that said, I will leave it right there. Thank you very much for watching this video. My recommendation is play at the ultra settings at native 1440p or ultra settings 4K DLSS. Maybe add the frame generation as well to both resolutions if you prefer that fluidity, you know, that higher refresh rate, because it looks quite good still. And that's it for this one. I'll catch you guys in the next one very soon. As always, love you all. Bye-bye.